Welcome everybody. My name is Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of August 25th, 2025, which of course is the last week of this month. Another one in the books. Crazy that it has gone as quickly as it has, but this is really the week where we're starting to see what the rest of the year is going to be about. And of course, if you've been following me, that means you clicked on the subscribe button below, and if not, you'll do it now so that you stay up to date on all of the crazy intense energy that has yet to show us the full picture. But we're starting to get some idea as we have just completed that complete reset with a 0-degree new moon in Virgo that was squaring to Uranus. It's part of a yod. So this week we're in that energy of what was your personal mission. And especially if you have planets near that 0 degree, especially if you have them in Virgo, then you felt something really intensely over the last week, and you're still feeling that intensity as this week moves forward. And of course, then we are beginning actual eclipse season next week, because on September 7th, we'll have that full moon lunar eclipse. Catch up on past recordings, or you want to make sure that you have all of my written content that supports all of these videos. You also want to go out and join my website, maraleeburnett.com. Like I mentioned there, you have access to everything that I've created in the past. You have all the articles that I've written for this year. It's always great to go back and review and see how things have been lining up for you. And of course, you have the information that's coming up for the rest of the year. You get a monthly article. So October's out there. The eclipse articles are all out there. And I'll be done with November, December shortly. So you can always be prepared by accessing the information on my account. And then if you become a member of my account, then I will email all the articles to you. And even a weekly update that links you to these videos and links you to my daily tarot cards. So that's a great way to get a quick message about the energy, and you won't want to miss it. So I hope to see some of you there. Of course, if you want to really work with me and get all the details, you want to book a session, and I have all kinds of specials out there right now for the eclipse readings specifically that you will find very beneficial. Trust me, you're going to want to be prepared. All right, so let's dig into the week ahead and get started with Monday, August 25th. And you will find that there is mostly, as I mentioned, kind of the follow-up energy to last week's new moon. So keep in mind, as the moon does its cycle through, at the new moon, when the moon is a blank slate, we have the next 2 weeks until we get to the full moon to be achieving those new opportunities. And remember, those new opportunities in the sign of Virgo were a pretty giant leap of faith and a definite change in direction for those of you, specifically with those early degree energies in your chart. So don't be afraid if you haven't seen everything yet. You will be over these next 2 weeks, because then things come to fullness that's faded, because it'll be that full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And so as we start this week, we're seeing that kite activation again. We've seen it from Mars, and now we see it briefly from the moon. And so this, again, is some opportunity to get something lifted off of the ground that requires a lot of work. It requires balance. It requires effort on your part. And so there's an emotional connection, maybe to other people, because of this being in the sign of Libra. That is what is being challenged. Something that you want, you desire through others, instead of just going it alone, which is that Saturn, Neptune energy in the sign of Aries. And then we still have a grand air trine. This comes through with the moon in Libra, as I mentioned, plus Pluto in Aquarius, and that crazy and wild Uranus in the sign of Gemini. So there can be heartfelt conversations on Monday that help you discover what it is that you want to go after, what you want to put effort into in order to get this opportunity lifted off of the ground. You can watch some of my past videos if you want more details on that. And of course, it's this opposition between the moon and Saturn and Neptune. Those two planets are working to help you restructure your dreams, help you come up with a plan, and help you pursue them. But there's some challenge, as in who you're in a relationship now, for instance, that is causing you to question whether you should go after your dreams. But instead of them holding you back, what you could find is a way for you to include them in the creation of this dream, and that would help you get this lifted off the ground. So we have that going on Monday, always an intense energy. And then we have still the yod that was created at the new moon. So like I said, we're still in that new moon energy. And a yod, or a mission from God, or a personal quest, is highlighted here by the sun. So it's shining a light on your mission. Now, a mission in the sign of Virgo could have to do with getting yourself organized, getting your house cleaned, could have you paying attention to the details, and it could definitely have you paying attention to your health. Now, that sun's also been squaring with Uranus since that new moon last weekend. Again, can be ego wars, things that are clashing, but also can be changing the way you perceive your success. So there's something, obviously, that's been going on there, and it's starting to fade, but we still have it here. You can't even see these green lines, which mean in conjunct, are very faint, but that sun has still been speaking in disharmony, basically, with Pluto in Aquarius and with this Neptune-Saturn energy in Aries. So there is some leader, some inspirational leader that's a part of a group that inspires you, that is helping you accomplish your mission. That is unexpected. It is not a direct guidance that you're receiving. It may be guidance that you're getting through someone else, even, because the inconjunct energy is not easy. But these working together are this Pluto, this Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. They're part of this mini triangle, which I keep telling everybody is this invisible shield of energy that is helping and supporting you. And you don't even know it's there, but it's working. It's doing the work behind the scenes. And so things that show up for you now, even if they're disruptive, unexpected, and don't seem like they're helping you, in the long run, they are. And you just need to let this completely unfold for you. So that is a pretty powerful second energy for Monday. And wait, there's more. We have Venus, who has now moved into the sign of Leo. Now, Venus loves love. So being in the sign that rules love, Leo, is going to be a happier 3 weeks. Cancer energy, from the Venus perspective, it's a little too emotional, a little too touchy-feely, but that Leo energy is more about passion and fun and romance. So you have that going on for the next 3 weeks, but you have to take it more serious. So it isn't about casual love, because of the fact that this 3-week journey is kicking off as Venus speaks in harmony with Saturn and Neptune. So this is a love, for instance, if we're focusing on that, but it could be a hobby that you have to take more seriously. You have to have a plan. There has to be a spiritual connection with this element from Neptune. And since they're both retrograde, you could be reconnecting with something or someone from the past that you truly loved. Now, keep in mind, Venus is now going over the same territory as Mercury, when Mercury just finished its retrograde, which it's now clear of. So we're post of the post shadow, and now we're ready to move forward. So if Mercury gave you the information or it helped you connect to or reconnect to from a mind perspective, something that you loved in the past, then Venus comes in and helps you live it and to explore it fully. So that can bring a real serious level of commitment to pursuing something that you loved. So, just a few little things showing up for us on Monday to get us going. And so that's a big day. And let's see what the rest of the week has in store for us as well. So let's move to Tuesday. And here on Tuesday, we have this shape that is called and looks like a cradle. And it is created by an opposition. So that same Venus energy is opposing Pluto in Aquarius. But the Pluto in Aquarius energy is actually supporting this cradle. And so what goes in a cradle? A baby. And so maybe for some of you, this fear of having children comes up in a big way, but the message is have it, because there's so much joy and love and support for you through the process. But if it's not about having an actual child, it's about giving birth to something you love. So there's that message again about Venus in the sign of Leo. This is about going after what you love. In order to do that, though, you've got to face your fears, because Pluto, of course, is your fear, subconscious fears, psychological fears. And Leo is leadership energy, where Pluto is groups, friend groups in the sign of Aquarius. And so you might fear that by going after what you love, you won't fit in with your friends anymore. But my guess is when you do go after what you love, even though it causes some frustration maybe with some of your friend groups, eventually, because they are your friend and they respect you and they see you doing this thing that's really challenging, but they also see how passionate you are about it, they will get on board. And then you have all of this energy, as I mentioned, that triangle of support that is hidden between the three groups of the outer planets. And with Venus now, you have another triangle of support between Uranus and Saturn and Neptune. So going after what you love and what you're passionate about, whether it's a hobby, whether it's children, whether it's relationship, if it challenges you, you know that's the thing that you want to pursue. And don't be afraid of it, because when we go after what we love, we are rewarded. Okay, that is the biggest energy on Tuesday. And let's look ahead at Wednesday. As we get into Wednesday, we are going to start to see a couple of the players in this mini outer triangle that are getting more exact in their connection. And anytime planets become exact, which means the degrees and the minutes are the same, then we can expect a stronger connection between the two. Uranus, of course, in the sign of Gemini, is bringing shocking information. It is helping to expand on AI, and it can have us breaking free from a way of thinking that no longer serves us. And it's making a sextile over here to Neptune that is now exact. So over these next 2 days, you may see some information come to you that inspires you, right? Neptune is inspiration, personal inspiration in the sign of Aries that rules the self. It's also personal initiative. So there is help for you. And a sextile is very subtle, soft, gentle energy if you want to take advantage of it anytime, even if it's a trine. A trine is almost guaranteed success, but you still have to do something about it, which is this Neptune-Pluto conversation, which will be, again, another energy that's getting closer and closer together. But for now, as these two speak, whatever your dreams are, or maybe you felt blocked from your dream, then this Uranus energy is going to give you a spark of inspiration that gets you on your path. So look at that on Wednesday. And we also see on Wednesday, the moon still in the sign of Libra is opposing Chiron. So there is some emotional wound that you've been working on that's associated with a relationship, or it could be a legal battle because of this sign of Libra. And you briefly are confronted by it, and you have the opportunity to choose to meet in the middle, to resolve whatever the issue is with this other person. So take that into account, and maybe this aha moment you get between this Neptune energy and Uranus is what helps you resolve this pain and the conflict that you're a part of. And of course, we're still seeing that opposition with Venus and Pluto, but it's starting to fade, as is the connection with Pluto and Uranus and Neptune and Saturn and Venus in this cradle. But it's still there on Wednesday. So it may be on this day where you notice, you feel a sense of urgency to take care of whatever this ends up being for you. And as we move ahead to Thursday, you really do see this as pretty much faded away as Venus moves away from Uranus more specifically and is moving away from Pluto. So this is about starting to release this event, this baby of yours, and start working on, creating it into your reality. Then we also see today this energy of connection between Jupiter in Cancer, of course, where it's exalted and very giving, starting to speak in harmony with the nodes. Of course, the South Node in Virgo and the North Node down here in Pisces, which are both about to be activated by the upcoming full moon lunar eclipse. And then next month is the new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. So this is going to be with us for the next week, and it can bring us faded blessings, faded lessons. It also can actually bring us a lesson, something that we need to show to the universe that we have learned. And that can be about having faith, of course, with the North Node in Pisces. It can be about pursuing our spiritual dreams, our gifts that we want to share with the world, and learning from the South Node, the Virgo tendencies. The challenge, right, with being able to share your gifts with the world is you got to get over feeling like they have to be perfect before you can share them. So there can be a teacher that guides you to do it anyway, even though you don't think you're ready or you don't think you're perfect enough yet. This wise teacher will come in and guide you through the process. And so we're starting to feel that more significantly the closer Jupiter gets to the nodes. Remember, as I said, when they become exact, it's more intense. And so we're just starting to feel something going on, something faded. You might start meeting faded people. So just be open to opportunities that start showing up for you on Thursday. And then we're heading into Friday, and not a whole lot has changed, of course, but you get this nice brief grand water trine with the moon in its not so favorite sign of Scorpio, speaking in harmony though with that North Node in Pisces and that Jupiter and Cancer energy. So grand trine, I mentioned earlier, you get a trine, it says you'll be successful, but of course you have to put in the work in order to succeed. So this is something of an emotional nature today that you may be called to intuitively, and it's about your future. Because of course the North Node is lighting the path of what you want to grow into, and you also have Jupiter's about growth and expansion, and the moon in the sign of Scorpio, while it doesn't enjoy it, it does show you, like that Pluto energy does, how to face your fears. And so there is something that you could accomplish today that will really help lead you into what you're destined to do and the work that you need to complete, as long as we have this North Node in the sign of Pisces energy working strong and behind the scenes. All right, that is the biggest energy helping us on Friday. We're moving along, and we are heading now into Saturday. And again, we have a lot of conversations with the moon this week because of the fact that we don't have a lot of other shifts and changes going on. So now we see the moon has gotten out of its dark place, Scorpios. No, my apologies, Scorpios, but you're intense. The moon wants it to be happy and joyful and Cancerian. So now it's in the sign of Sagittarius, where things emotionally for you, you are drawn to things that are fun and joyful and adventurous. But as soon as it gets in here, it does have a bit of a confrontation, of course, with this Uranus energy in the sign of Gemini. And in opposition, the moon wants to go big places, but Uranus is like, but you're forgetting this little tiny detail before you take off. So there is some bit of a challenge. Of course, the moon moves quickly, so it's not even going to last the whole day, but it is intense here in the middle of the day in particular. But at the same time, the moon does speak in harmony with that Saturn-Neptune energy. So there can be something about this big dream that you have, that you want to pursue, that you have a lot of support to pursue it, because from this angle you see that crib type of formation again, but instead of from the angle of that Venus in Leo, you see it another fire sign, the moon in Sagittarius. So we still have to care and nurture for our dream, and even though we're challenged by the information maybe we feel like we lack, we still have to go after it. So trust the information on Saturday that you feel to be your guide. All right. And then we are going to finish out the week on Sunday, which is, again, unbelievable. I don't know about you, but I don't even know where the whole month of August went. It flew by. But on Sunday, as we get to the end of the month, we now see that Mercury in Leo is speaking in harmony with Chiron that is retrograde. So this is a pain that you're carrying with you that is from the past. And Mercury is going to help you realize how to heal it, because Mercury is information. Leo is guiding you, leading you on how to heal your heart. So if any of you have any issues with your heart, then this can be a day where you understand how to heal that pain in some way. We still see Jupiter getting closer and closer with the nodes, not exact yet, but still being very influential. So continue to trust how fate is guiding you. That's the biggest thing you can do as Jupiter starts speaking in harmony with the nodes like it is right now. You also see in the day that Mars is speaking in harmony with the moon in Sagittarius, so you might feel really motivated to take a trip to visit a friend with this Mars in Libra energy, or it could be taking a trip with a lover. something about working with other people and doing things that are fun and exciting is very beneficial to you here on Sunday. You'll also see while Jupiter is trining and sextiling the nodes, the moon is going to be squaring them and creating a T-square. So this may help you recognize a belief system that's outdated, because of course the moon's in the sign that Jupiter rules over, Sagittarius, and that is about our value systems, our belief systems. And so there is something challenging those today, and that challenge comes from fate. So it could be a very interesting day on Sunday where things happen out of the blue unexpectedly, and that just means fate's ready to show you the next step in your plan. So that's the whole week. It's going to go by really quickly, no surprise. And then we are going to be into September. So as I mentioned, next week, it is going to be all about this this full moon lunar eclipse that is going to be happening here in the sign of Pisces. So I'm just going to move this ahead really quickly to the 7th, because that is when that's going to happen. So you can see that the moon and the sun, of course, are in opposition. The sun is shining a light on the past because it's sitting there next to the south node, while the moon is illuminated and shining a light on your path forward, the future. So whatever you need to let go of is being helped through the light of the sun, and then wherever you need to be going, the light going forward, which this makes me think of the Hermit card. That someone is shining a light for you. But of course, a full moon means a conclusion, closure of some kind. So whatever house you have this sitting in. So for instance, if we're looking at this 4th house where this event is happening in this chart, this is something that you're concluding that is like a family business, something you're concluding like working from home, purchasing, buying, or selling a home. It could be something to do with ancestral storylines that you need to end and release. It could have something to do with closure regarding your mother. So all of those things, whenever you finish them, then the pathway forward will open for you. So we're going to talk about that, of course, more next week, and we'll do the breakdown for every sign. But if you want to get a head start, go read my September article and then go read the separate full moon lunar eclipse article and get the breakdown by sign on what you might expect. But of course, if you want to know for sure, you want to book a session, because we have to look at all the interaction in all the planets that's going on at this time. And you'll notice we've had this weird, awkward connection back to Venus. So again, it is important that you pay attention to the whole story. And Venus, as we kick off this week, may be trying to give you a clue to what is blocking you from pursuing what you love, what you are dreaming about, and will help you achieve whatever your goals are for yourself with this full moon lunar eclipse next week. So of course, we're going to break it on down as we talk next week. And as we see, Jupiter will have just been moving past its conversation with those fated nodes as well. So as usual, lots and lots of things to talk about next week. So again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go out and join my website so that I can help guide you through this big, amazing transition. And like I said, this upcoming new moon solar eclipse that happens then at 29 degrees of Virgo, there's something so important about these next 2 weeks that's going to lead to an incredible ending before your new beginning can show up for you. So lots to talk about. I look forward to seeing you next week and breaking it all down again. Thank you for liking and commenting and sharing my work. Thanks for tuning in and showing up for those tarot messages. I think it'll show up over here because those are just a fun way to connect to the energy on a day-to-day basis and get another little extra dose of what's going on in the astrology for the day as well. So look forward to seeing you there on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube. All right, guys, take care, and I'll talk with you next week. And again, keep me posted on what's showing up for you. I'd love hearing your comments.